Hello, good morning, and welcome along to EPLW, your home of weekly English Premier League news. I am Joe, and alongside me is a man who very, very much needs an introduction because no one knows who he is. It is, of course, the man who bites the heads off of live animals just for entertainment, Rozzy Rosborn. It is, of course, Roz. See what I did there, Roz?
Yeah, nice.
I thought throw in a quick Black Sabbath link at the top just to to soften.
You find out footballers to sort of put Roz name of, and you've just gone for slightly weird rock stars.
Yeah, well, I thought if we just do footballers, we're pretty limited, and I'm gonna have to start recycling them. I can't call you Rozzy Ardiles and Rosald Koeman every week. That's boring. So we're gonna venture into the world of celebrity as a whole.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, you could have had Roz County. Yeah, give me a whole club.
Roz County. Oh.
Yeah.
Now you said it on air, I can't use it. You should have just emailed it to me or WhatsApped it or something. Brilliant. Cheers. Yeah, just well, there you go.
Joe, don't want to be, one of those guys or anything, but on the next show, here's a list of things that I think you should call me. I can't call myself it, but you have to. Yeah, but I think we.
I can imagine adding a few things to that list on occasion as well. So yeah, Roz is the kind of guy who tells you what his nickname is. Just putting it out there to start the show. I watched the King's speech last night, so forgive me if I stammer a bit. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Awful. Oh. Disgusting. Yeah. No, I've had a stammer before, and it was not nice. Not nice at all. But yeah, what a film. Have you seen it?
I actually haven't. Anything to do with the royal family, just in the bin.
Well, that's what
it's quite good.
That's what I would usually do. I didn't choose the film, but I ended up watching it, and that is the beauty of film night, where you take turns with people choosing the film, and you don't get a choice, and you're forced to watch something. And it was just a really nice film to watch. Really brilliant acting, and quite a bit of South London in there as well, which was nice.
Oh, is it Jeffrey Rush?
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush is in it, and obviously Colin Firth is unbelievable in it. Anyway, this is not it's not Film Weekly, it's EPL Weekly. So let's talk English Premier League, shall we? I'll give you the fixtures in a minute. Subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a live stream again, and make sure you allow your notifications. So every time we go live, and you can join the action. If you're watching and you've got any suggestions, just comment in the live chat here on the video page. Also, make sure you tell us what you want to hear about on the pod. Tweet us at EPLW pod. And let's not forget about Patreon. Head to patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW. And you can support what we do. And talking of Patreon, we've got a message in our comments from our #1 Patreon subscriber, Andrew. And he says, after a few weeks catching up, finally managed to catch one live. Thanks for the lovely thanks the other day. Keep up the good work. King's speech is ace. Andrew, we are just on the same page, aren't we? We're all on the same page. I love it. King's speech is brilliant. And yeah, Andrew, be like Andrew. He subscribed to our Patreon, and he, as well as helping us grow as a channel, he is able to access exclusive content and features, and also gets a little bit of a say in what we do. So next Wednesday for our 11s series, we're doing Man United at Andrew's request. If you want to choose what we do, then let us know. Okay, Roz, I think it's about time I got onto these fixtures. So on the screen right now is this weekend's fixtures. The Premier League going for a 4-4-2 this weekend. 4 matches on Saturday, 4 on Sunday and 2 on Monday. Let's run through them quickly. I've actually, do you know what I've done? I've managed to not highlight a random fixture this time when screenshotting. So that's a good start. And also I've managed to put the broadcasters on as well. So first up today at 12:30 on BT Sport, you can see Burnley versus Arsenal. Then at 3 o'clock, we switch over to Sky Sports for Sheffield Utd, Southampton, followed by Villa Wolves at 5:30, also on Sky. And then finally, completing the triple header of Sky games today, is Brighton at home to Leicester at 8 p.m. That should be an interesting one. tomorrow's games then, midday. I think they've made this one early because it's a big one. West Brom Newcastle on Prime Video at midday. Then Liverpool Fulham's at 2 o'clock on Sky Sports. Man City, Man United. Oh, Manchester Derby. Oh dear. 4:30. We'll dedicate some time to that later. I'd love to hear what Andrew's got to say on that. That one's on Sky Sports. And then Sunday evening, Spurs Palace, 7:15. Nice early night for me tomorrow then. Okay, Monday, we've got Chelsea Everton at 6 o'clock on BT Sport. And then West Ham Leeds, the Roz Derby.
Yeah.
At 8 p.m. on Sky Sports. Roz, anything you want to comment on those fixtures?
No. Let's just get into the one-to-one predictions, or the one by one. There's some actually really good games. I mean, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been like 2 whole days, and I'm really missing the Premier League.
Yeah, God, it's just literally
I had a whole Friday without any Premier League football. Properly relaxing. So
yeah, it should be fun. We're going to preview each one of these games now, then, and we're going to try and predict the outcomes of those games, as Roz just alluded to. But before that, we're going to take a look at our predictions that we made on the last show and see how we did last week. So let me just get my notes up here. And this should be interesting, Roz. So last week was a double game week, wasn't it? So we split them up half and half. So going into the midweek games, I was winning 8-7. So you get a point for the correct team. You get a point for the result, so win, loss, or draw. You get a point for the score, and you get a point for man of the match. Okay, so there's 3 points available for each game, which means with these 9 games, there were a possible 8 games, 8 midweek games. There are possible 24 points up for grabs. How many do you reckon we got each? Right, going into the midweek games, you had 7 points and I had 8, so I was well in the lead. Well, not quite, but I was in the lead. So Everton Southampton, you said 1-0 Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I said 2-0 Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It was, in fact, what was the score? I can't find it now. I've got too many windows open. Standard.
2-0, wasn't it?
Yes, that was it.
No.
1-0 Everton. Richarlison, was it? Anyway. Wow, this is so professional. Anyway, I got 1 point for that one. You got no points. Man City Wolves, you said 2-0 Cancelo. I said 3-0 De Bruyne. We both got a point for the City win there. Burnley Leicester, you said 0-0 me. I said 2-0 Wood. And you got a point for the draw where it was 1-1 there. Sheffield United Villa, we both got zilch because Sheffield United stunned everyone and won 1-0. We both said 1-0 with different Villa players. Palace Man United, you said 0-0. I said 1-0 to Palace. You got a point for that. I got no points. You said Milivojevic. I said Benteke, by the by. Don't try and claim Milivojevic as a point.
I will try and claim Milivojevic as a point, because if you go to Sofa, which is the data app, it had him actually scoring the highest.
Sofa score, yeah. But then I looked on the Premier League, the official Premier League website, and he wasn't ranking in the man of the match area.
The official Premier League website goes from who the commentators state, which is like, they just asked Jamie Carragher like 2 minutes before the end, who's your man of the match, Jamie? He's like, fuck, I can't really give a fuck about this game, so I'm just gonna just pick that player. Why not? Like it's no. I'm having Milivojevic. I'm also having the score because I said 0-0, right?
Yes, you did.
That's 3 points.
Palace 0-0. Okay.
Milivojevic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
3 points.
3 points. Oh dear.
But give me 1.
Fair enough. Fulham Spurs, you got me. Fulham Spurs, I mean, you've smashed me anyway. It's not like it's going to make a difference. Fulham Spurs, we both said 2-0 Kane. Obviously, it was 1-0 Spurs and Dele Alli scored, so we got a point each for that. West Brom Everton, I said 1-0 Everton. You said 1-0 Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I said 2-0 West Brom, Pereira. What was I on the other day?
What were you on?
So you got 2 points and I got none. Chelsea Liverpool, you said 2-1 with Mason Mount, and I said 1-1 with Giroud. Obviously, you got the Chelsea win, and you said Mason Mount who scored. So yeah, that's our predictions for last week. The total scores: Roz 17, Joe, 11.
Oh, oh. Don't worry, mate. It's a gift. You can't teach it. You're born with it or you're not. I've got it.
So overall, that means you're 3-0. Is it 3-0? Yeah, let's just call it 3-0. No, 3-1. 3-1. I'm just making it up so we've got a score to keep track of. Okay. Should we start looking at these games then?
Yeah, you want to.
We've wasted 10 minutes talking about cinema and our own predictions. How ridiculous. And it's time.
Are you okay, Joe? You sure you want to after that, traumatizing
After that traumatized ring, did you just say?
Traumatizing, traumaticating, traumatizing.
You're not used to being able to dig me out. Yeah, have another coffee. Usually I'm the one ripping you. You're like, I've got an opportunity to rip him. Don't mess up. That's why I talked about the King's Speech, because I was like, I just put it in your head, this kind of struggling to talk.
Clever.
Yeah.
Like it.
Clever. Okay, so let's crack on with the actual content of the show. Burnley Arsenal, 12:30 today at Turf Moor. Burnley midfielder Jack Cork sustained a hamstring problem against Leicester in midweek and will be assessed. Ashley Barnes is still out, but Johan Berg Gudmundsson and Robbie Brady have trained this week and could return after injury. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says the hip issue suffered by Croydon De Bruyne against Leicester is not serious, but it's unclear if he will be fit. That's kind of it on the team news side of things. Burnley 15th, 29 points from 27 games. Arsenal 10th, 26 games, 37 points. Arsenal doing quite well. I mean, where do you see this one going, Roz?
I just want to double check. Mikel Arteta, did he actually refer to Smith Rowe in the interview as Croydon De Bruyne? That's what he calls it now. I'd love that. I think it's actually on like the squad sheet that he hands in. Sort of like, here's our lineup, and it's Croydon De Bruyne, number 32.
Yeah, exactly. He did.
I think, if memory serves me correctly, I reckon Saka was rested in the last game.
You reckon correctly?
He was an unused sub, and it wasn't he might have had a knock the game before, but it was that Arsenal felt that they just didn't need him against Leicester. Yeah. So he's rested. Smith Rowe might be out, but I can see Saka kind of running them ragged a little bit, actually. I think Burnley are safe, really. Obviously not mathematically. It's looking a little bit tight down there, but I think there'll definitely be 3 sides worse than them. This isn't going to be one of the games that Sean Dyche sort of penciled and said, this is where we're going to get some of our points from. So I'm going for a comprehensive Arsenal win with Saka man of the match. And let's go 3-0.
Wow. Big shouts. Okay. I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal. I think you've pretty much covered it. What I would have said. But I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal, and I think people still think of this guy as not being much, but I think Arteta is starting to work wonders with him. I'm going to say Pepe.
Yeah.
Because
it's been much better.
Yeah.
Definitely the best form of his Arsenal career at the moment.
Exactly. And Arteta appears to be doing the right thing. We've got a few comments. Andrew is saying, regarding United City, if the last 9 years have taught me anything, it's humility. As much as I'd like to say 2-0 United, if we can't beat Palace, who can we beat? Palm face emoji. Yeah.
Oh.
And then Mus also in the comments. Andrew saying, still, if we win, no doubt I'll be talking about how we're going to win the league next week. Yes, you sound like a typical United fan. Lose, cry, win, we're champions. No, not really. I'm joking. Welcome to the family, Andrew. This is how it works. We rip each other. You can rip us back in the comments as well. Talking of ripping, Mus has got in the comments, and he just says Joe got absolutely rozzed. I'm assuming you're alluding there, Mus, to Roz talking about my diminished ring or something. Was it? That was something like that.
Sound a little bit post watershed there, so maybe.
Well, if that's how you want to, if that's how you're thinking of it, Ross, blimey. Right, okay. And also, we've got another comment from Fazli. He says, "Start or bench Digne." Are you going to be starting or benching Luca Dean?
Oh, for fantasy is this?
I guess so. Yeah.
Remind me who Everton have. It's quite a winnable game. It's whether they get a. Who have Everton got, Joe?
Oh, they've got Chelsea away on Monday.
Oh, bench. If you've got a better option.
Quite a winnable game, is it?
Yeah, tricky one there. Yeah, and actually, sort of the assets of Luca Dean are sort of I don't think will when you're playing against sort of 3 centre halves there of Chelsea. Yeah, I if you've got a better option, bench. But I'm expecting a Chelsea clean sheet there, actually. But we'll get onto that later.
Fair dues. Right, yes, we will get onto it later. Okay, we've got our Burnley Arsenal predictions in. Next up, it's Sheffield United Southampton at 3 o'clock from Bramall Lane. Southampton in free fall, it seems, and almost being considered as part of the relegation conversation. Sheffield United managing to put a couple of results together. They're 12 points off safety with 11 games to go. Jagielka's on a 1-match ban, though, and the Blades are also missing Chris Basham, John Egan, Jayden Bogle, and Jack O'Connell, along with Sander Berg and Jack Robinson. Southampton, meanwhile, Kyle Walker-Peters, Ibrahim Diallo, and Takumi Minamino have all returned to training and are being assessed. Don't expect them to make it, though. And this one's a tale of injuries. The red and white stripes that, are resting up.
Yeah. It's interesting. Hassan Hutel was sort of I feel really sorry for him in all his post-match interviews.
Yeah.
I can't remember a manager. He's been battered 9-0 in 2 consecutive seasons, and he's just starting to kind of come across this sort of really forlorn sort of, what can we do? We've got all these injuries. But one of the injuries he was talking about was Minamino in the last one. He said, well, he scored a great goal for us. I can't remember who it was against, but it was an absolutely brilliant goal where he sort of dummied the keeper, sat him on his arse and kind of knocked it in. But he's talking about Minamino, and he's a player that he's only had since January. So really, you can't sort of talk about those kind of players that you're losing to injury when you put such a brilliant run together earlier in the season. Southampton, of course, were actually top of the Premier League for a very short amount of time this year.
Stop the count. Do you remember the tweet? The official club Twitter, didn't they? They tweeted "Stop the count." It was after like 6 or 7 games they were top of the league. It's funny. Do you know what? There's such an interesting team, aren't they? Such an interesting proposition. This fact that they can get beaten 9-0 quite. I mean, regularly. That's regular for getting beaten 9-0 once a season. Yeah, but also to be top of the league early on, to have that good a form, but then now to have this poor form. I mean, yes, you can talk about their squad and the depth of their squad and stuff, but does it really fall on the manager? And is he potentially the next manager in line to go, do you think, in Premier League?
Actually, I mean, you talk about a squad, okay, just take the injuries out of the equation just for a second, because actually they've had quite a few of their big names fit recently. I think they've had their first choice back five with the goalkeeper for a couple of games in the latest running anyway. I was talking earlier in the season and comparing like player for player this team to Leicester's title winning team. And actually, so you go Danny Simpson for Kyle Walker-Peters, you go Christian Fuchs for Brian Bertrand, Danny Ings for Vardy, and sort of go down there. And actually, it's not too different. Okay, you've got world-class players in Kante, Mahrez, and Vardy. Danny Ings is a striker who's more than capable of getting 20 goals a season. The actual squad they have is far too good for a relegation battle. I don't think they're really in that conversation.
Really?
Okay. Southampton board must be so confused because this is the manager. He was linked to Borussia Dortmund, as you're advertising very well for there.
Yeah, as usual.
Only about 6 months ago.
I do watch this, by the way. I do watch this.
Nice.
In between
shows.
Sleep
in it, right? So you're what's going? So basically, like with a run, a manager is capable of putting such a good run and a bad run together. There's a real sort of feeling of maybe imposter syndrome. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there.
Yeah.
All I know is the mood in the Southampton camp must be absolutely dire at the moment.
Yeah, so, I reckon they're probably. It's not like I don't think they're going out for like little day trips to the beach, are they? In between games, having ice cream and stuff, because that's what they usually do. Apparently, said no one ever. Yeah, what's your prediction, Ross?
Let's give Sheffield United a little bit of hope. Let's go for a 1-0 Sheffield United win.
I love the way you said that, as if like it's up to you whether they win or not. You're like, let's give like your Snow in the Hunger Games or something, just like deciding what happens to people.
17 points to 11. I'm not often wrong. Well, I am.
Whoa, okay.
No, I think that even if they do win, they're going down. But if they, I reckon they'll get a 1-0 victory here. How many points? So they're 11 points from safety with 12 games to go.
Yeah, 11 games. 11 points from safety, 12 games to go.
Yeah, it's not happening, is it?
Sorry, happening. 12 points from safety, 11 games to go.
Oh, it's even worse then. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I think they'll get a win today.
Yeah. What's your scoreline and who's your man?
1-0 with the goal scorer being. Are
you going to say the same as me? I've put 1-0.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go for James Ward-Prowse. No, I went Sheffield United, didn't I? McGoldrick. I went for the other
I went for McBurney.
Nice. Oh,
okay.
Interesting. Oh, actually, where did McGoldrick start out? What was his youth academy? EPL trivia.
I don't know. Go on.
Southampton.
Ah.
Same youth squad as Gareth Bale, that lot.
And my mate Ben. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We're taking too long on each game at the moment. Hang on, we've got a few comments coming in. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm just getting completely dug out by Andrew on the comments.
Nice.
After ripping him for being a Man United fan. He's like,
he's allowed to do that now because he's a patron.
Yeah, exactly.
The privilege to rip you out.
Yeah, he's like, Arsenal are doing well, aren't they? Like, yeah, so yeah, he's just absolutely and Crazy Mus Man saying, "For wash your Dortmund." I think I think he's tried to amalgamate the name of the club Borussia Dortmund with the word wash, which is intelligent.
So he's doing what you would call a pun.
Oh yeah. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm literally? I wouldn't be surprised if Mus told me he went to uni to study puns and he's got like a degree in punology or something, because he literally lives for the pun. Like every other sentence has a pun in it.
Mate, you can do a degree in barbecuing, can't you? Probably in Oklahoma or somewhere.
Andrew's saying, "Gotta say, I love the literary references in this show. Definitely makes it stand out amongst other podcasts." Thank you so much. And remember, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, you can follow us on Twitter at EPLW Pod. You can support us, be a patron. Go to patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW. And if you like it and you think you know someone else who might like it, then tell them, get them to subscribe, because we've been stuck on 31 subscribers for about a week now, and it's starting to grind my gears. So get people to subscribe for us. We'll do some sort of pyramid scheme, right, Roz? Should we do a pyramid scheme? We'll be like, if
Yeah,
you get someone to subscribe,
Yeah.
maybe we could use Patreon as a pyramid scheme. What do you reckon? Ooh.
Is this pyramid selling, Jez? It is pyramid selling.
Bit of peep show there. Yeah, no, maybe this is one for the post-production meeting. Yeah, okay. Right.
Draw a diagram and send it to me. I'll look over it.
Oh, what kind of diagram? A Venn diagram?
Oh, I love a Venn. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, okay. We could do. Can you imagine? We could do a van. Oh, I'm going to do. I've got a quiz idea for EPLW. It's going to be a Venn diagram about players whose names begin with Van. So it's going to be a Venn diagram.
A Venn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Aston Villa Wolves then at 5:30 today. Villa 9th in the table, 25 games, 39 points. Wolves 34 points after 27 games. Villa head coach Dean Smith says Captain Jack Grealish looks pain-free, but it's unlikely to make his comeback from a shin problem on Saturday. I frankly don't believe a word anyone says about Jack Grealish anymore after the Fantasy Premier League the other day. Matty Cash, Courtney Hauser and Wesley are nearing a return to fitness, though this match comes a bit too soon for them. Willy Bolly could start for Wolves, having returned from injury as an unused sub against Man City. Podence, Marcel and Raul Jimenez still unavailable. Roz.
Yeah, Black Country Derby. Isn't it? I don't know. Everywhere's north. I'm a Londoner.
You're the expert.
North for me.
You're the expert, mate.
They're roughly.
I'm just the presenter. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if Brighton Crystal Palace is a derby, I would have thought that Aston Villa Wolves is a derby, right?
Yeah, well,
no, it's a derby. I'm sure it's not.
By that logic, LA Galaxy against Dunfermline is also a derby, but you know, let's not go there.
Love it.
Villa Wolves.
Yeah, no, I fully expect Villa to bounce back. A few of those players are kind of looking at themselves. Someone, who was it? I was Tom, our Palace fan, I think, in the last episode, said that it might be a bit like Palace without Sahar. It's not that bad. Come on. I mean, no one's as bad as Palace without Sahar. But having kept a clean sheet against Man United. But I think they've got enough creative players there. I think they'll kind of be looking at themselves harshly there. And with or without Grealish, I expect Villa to win 1-0. Let's go for another Villa 1-0.
Interesting. Going for a win in the derby. I mean, usually in a derby, I would always say back the draw. Personally, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going for 1-0.
I have 17 points this week and you have 11, right?
Oh, wow. Here we go. In the comments, agreeing with me, actually, is Jack. Says 1-1 or 0-0 Villa v Wolves. Classic derby scoreline. Guys, if you're watching this, get in the comments and give us your predictions as well. I can't believe I didn't say that yet in the show. We want your predictions as well. So as soon as we start talking about the game, get your predictions in. And then when we do ours, I'll come to you and grab your predictions as well. And we can see if we're all on the same page or we're all on different pages. Cue a joke from Roz about his page having more points than my page or something stupid like that. Who's your man of the match going to be?
It'd be fine if you look at the book, Joe, then my page actually has 17 points and your page has 11.
Brilliant. Okay. There we go. That's exactly what I predicted would happen. So who's good at predicting now? Wow, this is getting very Partridge very quickly. So Villa Wolves, you said 1-0 Villa. Who's your man of the match?
Let's go for. I went for Traore last time. But let's go for El Ghazi.
Oh wow, I've said El Ghazi as well, mate. But I've gone 1-1 because it's a derby. So I always go for the 1-1 in a derby. Right, let's get on to our next game then.
Did you go for 1-1 with Palace Brighton?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I went for 1-1 with Palace Brighton because you can't mess around with these derby games, Roz. We've got to be careful as well because you know how passionate the fans get about the M23 derby. So we've got to be very careful not to rile anyone up, you know. Seagulls and eagles and all that. Maybe they'll come and do a poo on us, fly over us and do a poo on us. Anyway, on the subject of Palace, quickly, congratulations to Tom. Just want to say congratulations to Tom. He's had some great news recently, and I just wanted to say it live on air. We love you, Tom. Hope to have you back on EPLW soon. Hopefully after a Palace win, so you can lord it over Roz a bit rather than the other way around. Okay.
Well, I hope we get him on so we can actually ask him why it's such a big derby. We
Yeah.
know it's a big derby, right? But why? Yeah, we have to ask him why. Why do you hate Brighton so much? Those nasty seagulls.
Yeah.
We're the Eagles.
Yeah. Which brings me on to Brighton and Hove Albion against Leicester City tonight at 8 o'clock. Live from the Amex, the American Express Stadium down in Brighton. Get your predictions in the comments, people, if you're watching, and we'll share your predictions when we do ours. Brighton then 16th on 26 points. Leicester 3rd on 50 points. Leicester's form hasn't been brilliant, has it? Let's not beat around the bush there. I'll let you come on to that in a second after the team news. Brighton will assess the fitness of Aaron Connolly, who suffered a back spasm during training on Thursday. Tarek Lamptey will see a specialist following a setback in his recovery from a hamstring issue, while Florian Andoni and Adam Webster remain out. None of Leicester's 7 injured players are expected to return in time. Ayoze Perez and Dennis Pratt could be available next week, but not right now. Yeah, Leicester in a bit of freefall, aren't they, Roz? What's going on with Leicester? A couple of bad results recently.
Particularly, I mean, they lost to Arsenal. I mean, that's...
Oh, here we go.
That's good, is it? Can't let me up. Yeah, Brighton are a funny one. They're kind of getting dragged into that relegation discussion. I think the points total for the side that finishes 17th this year will be remarkably low. They're usually looking at sort of 38 points and you're safe kind of thing. I reckon you're looking much lower than that this year. I also expect Brighton, because of actually the quality of, I think, their coach, because of the quality of their squad and the use of it, you know, how young their squad is there, I expect them to kind of do a Villa next season. So kind of in a relegation fight, go right backwards close, then next season really push on, because they've got some absolutely brilliant players. And I don't think their league position really reflects that. I actually think they'll get a 1-1 draw here. I think Leicester, without the likes of, when Vardy's not firing, without the likes of potentially Maddison, he's been out, players like that, I'm going to go for 1-1 with, let's go for Vardy anyway.
Vardy, who's not been firing yet.
He never goes that long without a goal. But I actually expect a battling performance from Brighton with an XG of about 24. Why not?
Brighton and XG inextricably linked and unbelievably over the top stat. Anyway, I just said words. It was kind of like Jez's speech at Super Hans' wedding, wasn't it? Can people be in love? Yes, maybe. Probably not. Can one? How many people can someone be in love with? 2, 3, 4 is definitely surely a limit. It's that kind of like just saying words to fill the air.
I love it. That's the second Peep Show reference in the episode. I think we had 1 last week, 2 this week. Let's go for 3 next week.
Absolutely. I love your I love that sequencing there, Roz. Great. You're able to get from 1 to 2 and then think of what could come after that. Very impressive. Right. Talking of 1 to 2, I'm going to say 2-1 Brighton. And I don't know here. I reckon it's got to be. I know Vardy's the safe bet, but I'm very puzzled here. I'm going to look at the comments for inspiration. Mus says Leicester 1-0 Vardy, and someone else has just said triple cap a City player this game. So obviously they're not really following what we're doing in the comments there. But I'm going to say 2-1 Brighton, and I'll go for that guy Welbs who missed the penalty, Danny Welbeck.
When was the last time Danny Welbeck scored?
I don't know. When was the last time Jamie Vardy scored? Touche. Right, okay, let's get on to the next game, shall we?
I don't remember the last... anyway, go on.
Well, I think he's going to make up for that missed pen last week. Plus, I was under
Fair.
pressure and I hadn't thought of one already. Sunday, West Brom host Newcastle United at the Hawthorns. So everyone's getting a line on Sunday. West Brom are expected to remain without Grady Diangana for the third game in 8 days. Kieran Gibbs also missed Thursday's defeat by Everton because of a neck problem and will be assessed. Alan Saint-Maximin and Miggy Almiron are out until April after they suffered respective groin and knee injuries last weekend. Callum Wilson is still sidelined, while Federico Fernandez, Isaac Hayden and Emil Kraft could feature. So a lot of injuries there. Matt Ritchie is in contention to play after apologising to boss Steve Bruce following their row last week. All's well at St James's.
Like how Steve Bruce all week has just been like, I'm gonna find who's responsible for this leak. I'm gonna find whoever managed to leak that. He's trying to sort of take the press's eye away from the fact that there was a rift in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's not about the fact there was a leak and hoping that everyone forgets what the rift was. So Maximan's out until April. Wow. Oh, they might be going down.
Look, you heard it here first. I think it was last Sunday or last Saturday. I said I think Newcastle will go down, and I think Fulham will survive. But that's my prediction. Talking of predictions, if you're watching, please get your predictions in the comments for this one. Yeah. Sorry, Roz. Crack on.
I was expecting Newcastle to stay up. I was expecting to stay up on the back of the fact that St Maximin's just a level above anything else they've got.
It's a funny one for Newcastle, isn't it? I mean, it's always an interesting conversation, Newcastle, because they've got to this level, they've built up their squad, they've got some decent players, and now they're in the relegation conversation. If they go down, they're going to do that same thing they've done twice before, where they've taken down a decent squad, and because of the lack of investment of the owner and the choice of manager and the transfer funds and stuff like that, you know, players like Almiron and Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, John Joe Shelvey, there are loads of players in that team who will definitely stay in the Premier League. They're not going to go down with Newcastle. So, or move to a top division elsewhere.
Left back, Jamal Lewis was very highly rated at Norwich and with some big clubs. The left back there, Jamal Lascelles, brilliant player. Also, if you look at their other relegations, the second one I think had Wijnaldum and Sissoko. Wijnaldum went on to win a Champions League, and Sissoko went on to win a World Cup with France. And in the first one, they had Michael Owen and Damien Duff, players like that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, Mike Ashley, if he gets relegated, worst owner of all time. I'm going to go for a 1-0 West Brom win here. I think it'll be a set piece. It'll be a classic Big Sam victory. And let's go for another Kyle Bartley.
Kyle Bartley, interesting. Okay. I've gone 1-0 as well to West Brom. I think. Who do you reckon I've gone for? I've gone for Pereira, basically. Who are you going to go
fair
for?
Enough. You always go. No, can I change mine? I just thought of another player who actually was really good against Everton. Dianya.
Yes.
Their striker. He's an absolute beast. Just looks so strong. He's the one Man United fans will remember who, just knocked Lindelof out of the way. I've got that goal against them in the 1-0 draw.
Brilliant.
But he's a player, Jeff. He's a player.
Okay, let's move on to 2 p.m. tomorrow at Anfield, where Liverpool have lost 5 games in a row. What? They host Fulham, who, let's be honest, Fulham are putting together some results. 1-2, drawn 2, lost 1 in their last 5. They're climbing out of that relegation zone. I can see it happen. Come on, Scott Parker. South London's behind you. Ozan Kabak is a major doubt for Liverpool, but fellow defender Nat Phillips, who missed the Chelsea defeat, should be available. Salah is fit, despite being taken off early by the Blues. Jurgen Klopp saying the Egyptian had shown signs of fatigue. No surprises there, Sherlock. Liverpool and fatigue being part of the conversation. That is probably, we had this discussion sort of not on air, didn't we, recently, about Liverpool and the fatigue situation. Do you want to sort of run us through your logic there? What you reckon?
So I was saying that actually there's only, I think twice in Premier League history a side has won the Premier League 3 times in a row, both times Manchester United. And actually how hard it is both physically and mentally to kind of get yourself up for 4 years in a row. Even 3 years in a row, which has only been done twice. And both of those squads were assembled by the genius that is Alex Ferguson. So you had depth there and world-class players. And just that, whether it's Man City with this incredible squad, whether it's Liverpool, we've seen in recent years how hard it is to kind of keep that consistency for a few years in a row. So actually Liverpool almost won the league, was it 99 points, which would have won pretty much any other season, but didn't quite do it. They got to a Champions League final the year before that. In that year where they were really going for the league. They won the Champions League against Spurs, and then the following year won the Premier League. So that's the Champions League final, a Champions League win, and winning the Premier League, which is 3 years in a row. It would be a hell of an achievement to kind of be up there again. So actually, I don't think it's everyone sort of using Van Dijk as the scapegoat. I've said before that actually they lost 7-2 to Villa. Before that, their form pretty much since lockdown and since actually just before with losing to Watford there and losing that unbeaten run. I don't think it's all about Van Dijk. I think that both Klopp and the players are just mentally exhausted. And, say they finish 6th or 7th this year, fully expecting them to kind of mount a challenge to any competition they like, really.
Oh, was that a dig? Mount a challenge because Mount scored the... No, okay, sorry. But, do you know what, Roz?
You're saying I'm digging people out when I'm not even trying to now.
While you were kind of explaining that to the people watching and listening, I was just having a quick scout through Liverpool's results. And when was the last time Liverpool won at Anfield in the Premier League?
Let's go for mid-December.
Yeah, 16th of December. They beat Spurs 2-1. And that took like a 90th minute Firmino winner.
I think that it was it Everton's last win or maybe the one before that at Goodison Park? It's the first time this year that aside from Merseyside has won at home.
Yeah, it's mad.
Really shocking.
Liverpool without a win at Anfield in 10 weeks of Premier League football is just unthinkable. Even in a season, before a pre-Klopp season, a season when they weren't doing as well, Anyway.
So what you're saying is that Fulham are going to win 3-0, right?
My prediction is that Fulham will win 1-0 because I can't see Liverpool digging themselves out of this hole. And Fulham, people still have this mentality of them being the little club that's not doing that well, and they brought a few players up from the Championship, and they made too many signings, la-di-da-di-da. But I don't know what Scott Parker's putting in the tea there, but it's working. And so I'm going to say 1-0 Fulham. I think a draw would be a more kind of realistic prediction, but I'm just going to go for it because it's been that kind of season, hasn't it, this season? I'm going to say 1-0 Fulham and Ademola Lookman.
I'm kind of disappointed because I thought that I was going to be sort of really bold by going for the same scoreline. But now you've gone for it, I'm tempted to go for a draw. No, I won't. I was going to go for a 1-0 Fulham win before. Going to stick to it. And just to change it up, let's go for Josh Maja, who should have scored. They actually changed the handball law because of it.
Yes.
After that Tottenham game. Like literally the day after, they were like, oh yeah, we're going to change the law, and that Josh Maja goal would have actually stood. It's like, I had my fantasy team, what are you doing? But let's go for Josh Maja.
Okay.
1-0.
Okay, brilliant. So now then onto the big one, Manchester derby, Man City against Man United, 4:30 on Sky Sports Super Sunday. Cannot wait to see, for one, I can't wait to see Carragher and Neville. It's always fun watching them on Sky Sports. in big derby games. I mean, obviously Liverpool United, it's a ridiculous one, but Carragher will definitely be gunning for Neville, especially the way City are playing this season. And Nathan Ake's back in training for Man City, who now have a fully fit squad. So Man City have that squad and no injuries.
Ake's back. They're going to win the league now.
City are likely to recall Ilkay Gundogan and John Stones, who were on the bench against Wolves. So Pep playing the rotation game. David De Gea is in Spain with his partner for the birth of their first child. Congratulations, Dave the Save. So Dean Henderson is set to start back-to-back league games for Man United for the first time. The Reds will monitor Anthony Martial, who is nursing a minor knee injury. Lindelof has been managing his back problem and therefore didn't play in midweek, but they reckon he'll return on Sunday to the starting lineup. So lots of coverage of this one in the media over the last week, building up to it. It's almost as soon as the final whistle went on the games during the week, it was bang, right, build up to Man City, Man United. Top two in the Premier League. Man City, although, they're 14 points ahead and, they've got a far superior goal difference. If there's anyone that can stop City, surely, Roz, and surely, I speak for the Weeple here, I speak for the EPL weaklings watching and listening, surely Man United can do it, can't they?
You know what? Everything in my head and all the games that I've watched from both sides this season suggest it'll be an absolute thrashing. However,
to Man United,
Derby,
yeah,
absolutely. However, in the Manc Derby, since Pep's been there, in fact, Pep versus Solskjaer, I should have done some research and actually got the results out, but they had a 2-0 victory, I think. That's got McTominay goal where he caught Edison out. They've had some decent results. And the build up in those games has been right. Surely it's going to be a thrashing, and then Man United kind of dig a result out.
Yeah.
So even though this is probably one of the best City sides we've seen, what's that, 21 wins in a row, heading for 27, which will be the record. 26 would level the record, and this is pretty much the only game on paper that looks like it could be a challenge. I'm actually going to go for a Man United win.
Wow.
Go for a Man United win. And the other thing is that, okay, they can't beat Palace, but Palace were playing with a back 8, a back 9, a back 10 at times. It was just so boring to watch. I can't wait until they get relegated. Ruining the Premier League.
Throwing a little bit there. But then they won't be able to have the crazy raucous atmosphere around the M23 derby with Brighton, and those magical games will be lost without Palace in the Premier League. So let's not be too hasty.
Like, get out their flares, like sort of pretend that they're
yeah.
I see the Palace Ultras. They're hilarious. They turn up to games just in black and they pretend to be like sort of Italian, like sort of proper, like, oh yeah, we're firm. Nah, you're not. You're
So right, let's not talk about the Palace fans wearing traditional 70s trousers. That's what I assume you meant when you're talking about flares. Let's get back to the Manchester derby. In the comments, Andrew says, "You've convinced me, guys. At 4-0 United." So
love it.
Completely unbiased and level opinion there from Andrew. 4-0 United. What are you saying, Roz?
No, I was also going to say about that Palace game. Not only were they properly put men behind the ball, and it was quite hard. I'd say that actually it looked a bit like Cavani had been rushed back. I think Solskjaer knows very well that they can't actually counter-attacking is all they have without Cavani. So I don't think he really looked at it. Whereas he's got another, 3 days training behind his belt, something like that.
Behind his belt.
Cavani, big game player.
Have you mixed your metaphors there, Roz?
Have I mixed my metaphors?
Yeah, you said something about behind his belt. I'm not sure if you meant.
Oh, but yeah, under his belt.
Under his belt, behind his.
Yeah.
Behind his what?
Nice.
Back.
Thanks for calling me out on that. You're still bitter about 17 versus 11.
Oh God, yeah. All right, I am. I'm just trying to Just trying to get a little
Anyway,
one up.
But yeah,
Oh, mate.
Barney, he's played in derbies all over the world. I'm gonna go for Cavani to be the main man.
Okay.
Man United's actually been 2-0.
Wow. So you are saying, and I'm just locking that prediction in, you cannot change it. You're saying that
Wait,
Man
Barney's
City...
injured, and I missed that. But I think he's fit. So yeah, Cavani,
You're saying that
2-0.
Man City, who haven't conceded, who haven't not scored in 21 games, maybe more actually, are not going to score against Man at home at the Etihad to Man United. But
Sorry,
that's fine. That's your prediction. That's your prediction. That's fine.
2-1.
No, sorry, it's too late. You've said 2-0.
Fine. It's fine. In Maguire we trust. You know how much I rate Harry Maguire.
Oh, mate. Okay, let's not go down the Maguire road. I'm going to say, I think it'll be close because it's a derby. I think, though, Man City will edge it. I've got to be honest. I'm going to say 2-1 to City. And
so what you're saying is that for a big derby, you always go for 1-0. So if it's for Palace Brighton, for example, you go for a 1-0. This one, not quite the level of Palace Brighton.
Exactly,
so,
yeah. It's not up there with... Yeah. I mean, there's... Roz, there are derby games and there are derby games, you know? This is the former. It's not quite an M23 derby. Whenever I think of the M23 derby, I just envisage like a big traffic accident, and ironically, that's what the game is often like between Palace and Brighton. Wow, we've talked about Crystal Palace so much in today's episode. It must be the Tom effect after Tom was guesting on the show on Sunday. While we're on this, actually, there's been a really interesting question in the live comments regarding greatest manager contests. Is it more impressive to hold a record like Ferguson's at United, or to have some success for many different clubs like Mourinho or Guardiola? What's your opinion?
The second one, I think. Well, I wouldn't put Mourinho and Guardiola in the same boat, really. Doing it at... I'd say you've got three very different managers there.
Yeah.
You've got Ferguson, who stayed at the same club but still managed to build 3 or 4 kind of very different sides in that time. So he was a bit more like, I guess, the kind of Sean Dyche or that kind of thing, where every player he has is his own picked player, own hand-picked player.
Yeah.
Or brought through the youth academy, which was so good throughout the 90s. Then you've got Jose Mourinho, who's gone to lots of clubs and been successful. So, for example, the treble-winning side with Inter Milan, where he managed to win a treble with Sully Montari, and players like that, which beat Pep's Barcelona over 2 legs. So he sort of takes sides that aren't as good on paper and turns them into champions. He sort of wins titles with players like that. And then you've got Pep Guardiola, who, yes, he's had success in different places, but he took over Barcelona and they were probably, it was when Spain were winning tournaments, I think 3 tournaments in a row for fun. So they had that sort of Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta thing from their academy. Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest player of all time. Did he, he did brilliantly there, but he still had a very good squad of players. Then went to Bayern Munich just after they won the treble, and didn't manage to win the Champions League there, but still had a squad involving, the likes of Xabi Alonso, the likes of Philipp Lahm, Robert Lewandowski. And then came to Man City, and, we all know the story there.
The rest is history, yeah.
I'd say you've got 3 different managers there, but I would say it's harder to sort of either go to different places or kind of stay at a club for a very long time. So I would say sort of Ferguson and Mourinho in one camp. Pep, brilliant coach as a manager in terms of signing players. I would say not on the same level as the other 2.
Do you think I mean, the way I look at it is very sort of similar to what you're saying. So Ferguson was in a different generation of manager, where a manager managed every aspect of the team. And, you know, like you say about signing players, employing tactics. Something that Ferguson did well was to keep things fresh, wasn't it? He famously changed his assistant manager regularly. And so there was a different voice on the training ground. People talked about it with Pochettino at Spurs, becoming the same voice, and the players kind of lose faith. And that's more apparent today than ever. So for someone like Mourinho, he's kind of done what Ferguson did, but he's had to move on because instead of employing a separate number two, Mourinho maybe likes to keep his backroom staff the same. If you've seen the Amazon documentary, you can see that he brings the same staff everywhere. He's got coaches that have been with him since the Porto days, when he won his first Premier League, when he won his first Champions League and Europa League as well.
That'd be really impressive if he won the Premier League with Porto.
Yeah, Guardiola. While Guardiola is a master tactician, and I truly believe he's a genius, and he sees the game like no one else. He can produce amazing kind of stints of stuff, but the longevity, he can't seem to do it. 17 trophies in 4 years at Barcelona is outstanding. It's incredible. It's Champions Leagues. With that team, in the club that he was kind of born into and went through the whole club, his whole life at the club. It remains to be seen if he can win the Champions League at a different team. Then I'd put him up there with the other two. But personally,
I don't know.
Personally, I think Mourinho is the standout one to go and win doubles and trebles in different countries. From Portugal to England to Italy, and then to Real Madrid, where he upset the odds there against Pep. I think Mourinho is the one for me. He's
yeah. I love Jose Mourinho. I wonder if you'd asked him, he'd probably say that he wouldn't say that he's better than Ferguson. I doubt. Ferguson, of course, did do it in another country with Aberdeen.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I would say those two definitely on a different level.
Yeah.
To Pep, who's an amazing coach, I just don't think he's the same level as manager.
Yeah.
That's the other two.
If we're talking exclusively Premier League, then the stats obviously say Ferguson. But I think tactically, Mourinho revolutionised the Premier League. And I think tactically, Guardiola's revolutionised the Premier League. But Mourinho's done it with less resources. I mean, he's always had lots of resources, don't get me wrong, but he's had a lot less resources than Pep, who has gone to City and had an endless pot of money for the last 4 or 5 years to create this team of Centurions and this world-beating team. They're like Corinthians, aren't they, Man City? They're like the Harlem Globetrotters or something.
I mean, you said revolutionised. I 100% believe that he has done new things with the City side that we haven't seen before. What Mourinho did when he came to Chelsea was that he forced Ferguson to change. Ferguson, who'd used 4-4-2 for so long, realised Ferguson had to kind of customise himself to beat this Chelsea side. Chelsea having won it 2 years in a row, and then actually switched to more 4-2-3-1 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you say revolutionised, do you think of sort of other people kind of looking at the tactics and changing the whole tactical view of the league? Whereas I would say Pep does unbelievable things, but you don't see other managers kind of trying to do it.
Right,
I would say even like sort of Klopp and Pochettino probably revolutionised the league in that other managers have kind of copied their kind of get compressing, all about the fitness thing. Sorry, it sounds like I'm just digging out Pep. I'm not trying to, but he's doing incredible things. But let's get it right. He's doing incredible things with incredible players. Mourinho and Ferguson, well, more Mourinho, I guess, did incredible things with players that didn't necessarily go on to do that at other clubs or hadn't done it previously.
Well, there we go. I think maybe we should park that conversation there because we really got in depth there. But thanks for that question in the comments. Another comment now. With the modern rotation of manager, if Ferguson was born at the same time as Mourinho, I think it would be a different story. It's hard for a United fan to place Mourinho higher than Fergie, but objectively, I agree. Jack is in the comments. He says 4-1 to City. Wow, big result there, Jack. Let's see if you're right. We'll watch EPLW tomorrow night, 6:30. You can join us right here on the channel. Just before we move on, my prediction is 2-1 Man City. And I think Phil Foden's going to be the man to really make a mark and take that next step in his career, really, and cement himself into Manchester derby folklore. Okay, Sunday night then at 7:15 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Spurs against Palace. Mourinho said he will make changes to his side given their busy run of fixtures. Lo Celso is not yet fit enough to return from a hamstring injury. Palace are bolstered by the return of Zaha after 5 games out because of a hamstring problem. However, James McCarthy has another groin injury and joins Nathaniel Clyne, James McArthur, Mamadou Sakho and James Tompkins on the sidelines. Crystal Palace, 34 points from 27 games. It's pretty much safe. Tottenham, 4 points off of 5th place. You know, looking around them, they've got Liverpool, West Ham and Everton ahead of them. Chelsea jumping into 4th now. Villa close behind them and Arsenal also. You know, who's this game more important for, Roz? And therefore, who's going to put in the bigger performance and move on?
Definitely Spurs. You know, I was looking at the top 4 this morning and just kind of looking at how far these teams are off. And I'm predicting that Man United and Leicester are going to have a big dip in form towards the sort of late stages of the competition. After that, winning the Manchester derby, of course. Yeah. But sort of looking at the clubs that could replace them, you go, do Everton have enough? Do West Ham have enough? Tottenham could, I think, actually put a run together. We're seeing Dele Alli kind of like a phoenix, just back from the ashes, totally.
Well, he didn't burn him,
totally
did he? I guess he did burn him in a way. Yeah.
I don't know if he actually got that goal, actually, in the Premier League game with a 1-0 win. It was rumoured to be an own goal, but it definitely looked like a Dele Alli goal.
It was, I think it went down as an own goal officially.
Right. But it was definitely kind of, yeah, definitely kind of his touch, his kind of influence on that game. We're seeing Gareth Bale and the best of him. And, you know, if the players around them are doing well, then Harry Kane and Son might just kind of go on another little run together. So I expect Tottenham to finish the season well, and Palace, you know, they can kind of be up for a game against Man United. But, you know, against, you know, a not as big side like Spurs. I reckon Spurs victory, 2-0.
And who's your man of the match?
Harry Kane.
Yes. Oh my God, I predicted your prediction. I wrote it down. If there's something I can predict, it's Roz's predictions. I've been doing it through the whole show, trying to predict your predictions, and I've got so close on so many occasions. This one, I locked it in early. Anyway, sorry.
I like that's the first one you've got. I'm such an enigma.
You are such an enigma, mate. You are enigmatic, Roz. Yeah, I've gone for 2-0 Spurs as well, but I reckon Gareth Bale will be back in the starting lineup and he will make his presence felt against Palace. I think Mourinho has chosen this time to bring Bale into the fray. I think he's probably had to deal with a player who has, well, let's be honest, he was sat on a bench for like 2 years at Real Madrid. What does that do to a player physically, mentally? It's taken time to get him back to a certain position. I think Daniel Levy's probably said, look, if we're going to buy him next season, don't make him too good this season because it will drive the price up. We know what Daniel Levy's like with the cash. Plus, they've just got that shiny new stadium. I can just see Bale starting to kick on a bit, and he's going to be Spurs' outright 3rd top scorer in the Premier League after Sunday night's game.
With 4 goals.
With 4 goals, yeah. I'm saying Bale 2-0. Let's move on then to Monday night's games. We've done the 2-4s. Now it's time for the strikers. Up front, we've got a couple of good games here. Sorry, that joke I need to probably reference that. At the start of the show, I said the Premier League was going for a 4-4-2. 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday, 2 on Monday. It's come to the Monday games, and I'm chatting a bit of rubbish there. So Chelsea...
jokes are always better when you explain them.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. Always better when you explain them. I mean, some of the best jokes are naturally, have explanations in them, like why did the chicken cross the road?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the M23 derby.
Hey,
there you go.
That's quite good.
Yeah, just try and get it in there. So, Chelsea Everton then Monday night 6 p.m. Chelsea come into this game off the back of the 1-0 at Liverpool, a 0-0 with Man United, and they've won 4 out of the last 6. They've only conceded 2 goals in that time. They're looking scintillating, but on the other side, Everton won their last 3 games, beat West Brom 1-0, beat Southampton 1-0, beat Liverpool 2-0. They're putting together a few good games, a few good performances themselves. And who's been the main man for them? In the absence of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, in the dip of form that Calvert-Lewin's had, Richarlison's showed up in those games, and he's scored in 3 games in a row. So it's going to be a tough contest, this. And I think this might be the game of the game week for me. How do you see it going, Roz?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier about sort of generations of managers, and this is definitely sort of one of the greatest managers of the last 20, 30 years against one of the best European managers of the last maybe sort of 5 to 10 years, probably close to 5, really. So it's really interesting. I think that actually in terms of player for player and in terms of how they've performed this season, relatively similar. You've got your Calvert-Lewins that have impressed, you've got your Mason Mounts that have impressed. You've got plenty of players that maybe in the first half of the season weren't kind of forming to their level. I see this being a controlled performance from Chelsea, as it always seems to be under Tuchel. I have to say, like, the way he's got them playing in such a short space of time is nothing short of mesmerising. They're controlling games. It's not boring to watch, unlike certain other sides when they control games. So it's possession based, but it's sort of quite expansive football. And Everton kind of 3 wins on the bounce. Richarlison the main man there. However, it was a lot tighter than a lot of people who saw the result would have thought against West Brom. I watched that one, and they could have conceded a penalty in the 2nd minute. Pickford had to make a couple of very good saves. Managed to get the 1-0 win with a set piece there, but actually I'm going to go for Chelsea 1-0, and I'm going to go for main man.
Who is it?
Timo Werner.
Oh, so close.
You won't even say main man, Matt, right?
Yeah, I was literally expecting it.
Yeah.
And you made me go you made me do this for ages. I was just doing it a little bit, and then, yeah. Hello, forehead. Okay, yeah. Very, very good sort of summation of how you see the game going there, Roz. And do you know what? I agree with you on a lot of points, but what I do think is with these 2 managers is they both know the importance of not losing. And I think that while this is an exciting game on paper and while I'm excited for it, and I genuinely hope that they would both go all out and we'd see the great attacking players that they both have on display. I just think Tuchel wants to protect his record, and I think Ancelotti is a wily old fox who's been around the block, and I think I can just see it being 0-0, unfortunately. Just in terms of tactical battle, 0-0. And I think Jordan Pickford is probably going to be the standout player, purely because I think Chelsea will have more of the game. So he has to be the standout player.
Jordan Pickford's been superb. I have to say that.
He's really
I
come
still
out.
don't rate him.
Yeah.
I think I said in one of the other episodes. I think that form is temporary and class is permanent. I don't think he's a class goalkeeper. I think that he's in very, very good form. But some absolute worldy saves, and he looks like he's commanding the box well at the moment. So very good form going into this game.
Yeah, on the plane then, definitely on the plane for the Euros.
If he was in the worst form of his life, Gareth Southgate would hand him his plane ticket there.
Yeah.
On the plane, right, but it's looking more and more like it's all just going to be in England.
Yeah, on the plane, like
it's a plane ticket from John Lennon Airport to Gatwick.
Yeah, brilliant. I do you know what? I actually I could see that. Like, I don't know. There's someone out there probably has suggested to Gareth Southgate that even if all the games are in England, we still do the plane thing. So it kind of, it's normal for the psychology of it. Get all of the squad on the same plane, drive around the airport for a bit, get on, have the media waiting.
The press need that shot, don't they? The press need the shot of all the players walking down the steps of the aeroplane.
Yeah.
All of them in their suits.
Yeah, the England suits. Yeah.
Every tournament has that picture.
I'm getting a bit excited for Euro 2020. Finally, I think, are we allowed to get excited just yet?
No.
Okay.
No, mate. No, I don't. Not yet.
Okay. Well, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. Actually, you heard it here first. When the Euros are on, we'll try and do some sort of thing on EPLW. We'll have to reuse the EPLW things and maybe call it Euro PLW or something. Like, just get in the comments and let us know if you've got any ideas. But it'll be cool. I can't wait. I'm going to get my wall chart. I'm going to get buy the paper on the Saturday before the Euros. Get my wall chart out. Get my pen. Fill it all in. Do our predictions online. We'll show everyone. And
when I was a kid, my brother was it 98 or 2002? One of those ones. But do you remember the tournament that England went out in tears? You've got a few to choose from.
Yeah, everyone since '66.
It was either 98, 2002, might be 2004 Euros. It's one of the tournaments. I've just got this sort of memory of my brother sort of going up to the ball chart, just tearing it in half.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hopefully that won't happen this year. He's a bit older now. But,
That was actually a very funny joke. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's get on then to our last game of the game week. This has been an extra long, extended podcast. Thank you very much for sticking with us if you're listening or watching. I hope it's been as enjoyable for you as it has for us. And continue to join the conversation in the comments and get your predictions in for the Roz Derby. Also, if you want to make any comments to Roz or try and trigger him in the comments, that would be lovely, because I'm running out of ideas because he's quite a resilient Roz today. It is, of course, the Roz Derby to finish the game week, the one he's been looking forward to since we started EPLW, since Leeds got back into the top flight where they belong, since West Ham got a decent manager in David Moyes and put together a good run of form. And this is really the clash of the giants here. Monday night, 8 p.m, West Ham take on Leeds. Roz, what do you think about this game? Be honest.
I think we were saying earlier in the show, you're talking about the King's Speech. I might actually book that in for Monday night and actually watch that film. What was Leeds' last result? They won. No, sorry, they lost 1-0.
Lost 1-0.
Lost 1-0. So all of this kind of talk about the Bielsa and sort of just this side that sort of they just free-flowing football, attack. It's okay if we concede 3, if we score 5 or whatever. And the side kept a clean sheet against them. It's not going particularly well there. No, I think that they're clearly going to stay up. Sadly, they're they're going to stay up. They're going to kind of have this thing of your first season in a very long time in the Premier League. Therefore, there's this kind of underdog card, right? Let's get this right. They've got a manager who's managed internationally. He's managed Argentina. He's managed Chile. You've got Rafinha, who I think was 18 million pounds or something when they were in the Championship. So that's a pretty big money signing there. Who's being rumored with all sorts of clubs. You've got Patrick Bamford, who was one of the most sought after strikers for a long time from the Chelsea Academy there in free scoring form. They've got 2 defenders who were, I think, sort of 15 to 20 million each in Robin Koch and Llorente from Bilbao. Leeds United have spent 100 million. I think they're 3rd or 4th biggest spenders since they've been up. They've got an international manager. They won the Championship last season. And for some reason, everyone's still giving them this underdog card, as if they kind of, oh, it's brilliant to watch and they're going to stay up and it's going to be amazing. Well, you'd hope they'd stay up with all of that kind of behind them.
Behind their belt, yeah.
Behind their, yeah, absolutely. No, mate, like it's not, they're going to stay up. Well done, Leeds. Brilliant. But
there it is, providing us with the gold that we wanted. A nice 3-minute rant about Leeds. And, they are the underdogs, though, Roz. They're just,
they're not the underdogs.
They are.
They're not the underdogs.
They are. They're just a newly promoted, poor old little club from up north, back where they belong, trying to piece it together, feed on some scraps and try and get...
Just because they've got a 12-year-old in goal doesn't make them underdogs. I mean, they've got a 12-year-old, but the other option's a racist. Okay? and Bielsa still chooses to pick him and make him captain of the club in the cups, because apparently that's fine. And then when it happens, and everyone's like, oh, he was actually, he lost the case. He was actually a convicted racist. Why did you make him captain? Well, I think that what you need to do here is, understand that the boys really like him in the changing room, and it's actually been really hard for him since you all accused him of being a racist, and since it was actually found out that he was a racist. And why do people not look at this when they're talking about them and they're analysing them?
It's awkward, isn't it? So we're having an awkward chat.
Literally, this is what's happened this season. And
well, I mean, from your first love, Leeds and Bielsa. In the comments, by the way, Jack says Bielsa masterclass 3-2 to Leeds. We are gonna go from your first love of Leeds to your second love of West Ham and David Moyes, and what a fantastic job he's doing. And West Ham surely are not just the pride of East London, but the pride of London at the moment. They're the best club in London right now.
Certainly better than Arsenal. I mean,
triggered.
Yeah, I'm not going to get as riled up. Sorry, I know you're looking for value here. West Ham doing very well. I think I said about a month ago, maybe even more. David Moyes manager of the season for me, for what he's sort of had access to in terms of players, what he's getting out of them, savvy in the market, getting Soufal and Soucek, who've both been outstanding. I fancy West Ham for this one.
Yeah.
I don't think they will make top 4. I don't think they'll have quite enough of that.
David Moyes seems to think they'll make top 4, doesn't he?
He does.
Don't know if you saw his press conference. Yeah, he said there's no reason to discount it. Why would you if you're doing that well?
So I was saying to you before the show, I reckon I'm just too negative. Shock horror. In that I was looking at the table just before the show, and I was just like, right, these 4 teams. Leicester are going to bottle it. I think Man United are going to bottle it. I don't think either of those 2 sides will have enough to kind of stay in the top 4. But then I was looking at the sides below them. I was like, oh, well, I don't think West Ham have enough. I don't think Everton have enough. And I was kind of running out of sides to actually make the top 4. No, I think West Ham will win this one. I don't think they'll make top 4. I think that it will be, 2-1. And then everyone will talk about how brilliant Leeds were.
So you're saying 2-1 to West Ham?
Yeah.
And who's your main man?
Mikel Antonio.
Antonio, good shout. Okay. I'm going for 3-0 West Ham on this one. You'll be glad to hear. I think the wheels have fallen off at Leeds. I feel like they're probably just coasting now, doing enough to get them through. They only need a few more points really to secure safety. They're pretty much there. This game means so much more to West Ham. They're pushing for a Champions League place for the first time in their history. And yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 West Ham. And my main man is going to be Souček, their top scorer this season, with 8, I think it is, in the Premier League.
Actually,
yeah.
So you know how I never listen to your team news?
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
You go to a lot of preparation, and I just totally blank it out. Is Calvin Phillips back?
It's the blind fury of Bielsa. It just absolutely clouds your judgment, doesn't it? Calvin Phillips is doubtful, so probably not that.
Yeah, they're nothing without Phillips.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be Pascal Struijk probably filling in again.
Yeah, not convinced.
Not convinced. West Ham should have way too much for Leeds in this game, honestly.
Yeah, and they're actually a big side. I will say that. West Ham, they've won 2 FA Cups. They've probably got similar kind of trophy cabinet to Leeds, I'd imagine, in terms of trophies won. It's just they don't go around saying that they should be in Europe and they're a top English side. So actually, in terms of my kind of hates, I'd say West Ham are much more likeable. You
heard it here first, people. Roz said West Ham are likeable. Okay.
More.
Let's get that one on the Twitter at EPLW pod. Follow us on Twitter and we'll get a little clip maybe of Roz saying, no, he's not going to let me do that. Okay, no worries.
I said more.
That's not what I heard. It's not what I heard.
If anyone wants reasons to hate West Ham, hard to do this season. I think they're doing really well. Just look at the voting record of Karen Brady. What is she, the vice chairman or owner? She's not owner. She's some sort of top figure. She's the woman off The Apprentice. She's in the House of Lords or something, and she's got a horrific voting record in terms of human rights. So that's my reason to hate West Ham.
Fair enough. Okay. One last thing before we go, Roz. I want your prediction for who's going to finish top 4 in the Prem.
Oh, mate.
After everything you've said, I just kind of want to know, and I'm going to write it down.
You're going to hold me to this. You're going to hold me to this till at the end of the season, aren't you? You get a dig out that you said, and it's totally on the fly. Right, City are winning it. So City.
Yeah.
Do I think there'll be a resurgence? I think it will be Man City, Leicester.
Oh, yeah.
Everton.
Oh, Everton. Okay. City, Leicester, Everton. And who's your 4th place going to be?
I think Man United will have a massive drop-off. And it's whether... I think it will go down to these kind of teams on the last day, potentially. I think that Tottenham are going to have... They're going to rise up the table. I think that Man United will probably be in that position going in. Maybe in the last couple of games. I think West Ham will be there or thereabouts. So it's between, for me, Spurs, West Ham or Man United. Because I've said Everton, I'm going to play the next one safe and go Man United. But it will be a kind of... It won't be a sort of glorious finishing in the 4th place. It will be got away with one there.
So no Chelsea for you. Okay, interesting. And no West Ham.
No. See, I knew you put me on the spot. Right. No, Chelsea, definitely Chelsea. Let's put Chelsea in for Everton. Chelsea 3rd.
So Chelsea will be 3rd. Okay, right. So you're saying City, Leicester, Chelsea, Man U. I'm saying City, Chelsea, Man U, West Ham. I think Leicester are the ones to drop off. I think
I
Chelsea.
think Leicester will. It's just, I think, yeah. You've got James Maddison coming back, presumably before the end of the season. Likewise, Harvey Barnes, hopefully. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're going to bring that up. Don't quote me on that. What did I say? City.
I've got it written down.
Chelsea,
City, Leicester,
United,
Chelsea, Man
Leicester.
United.
Did I say Leicester and Man United? Both of them?
You said City top, Leicester second, Chelsea third, Man United fourth.
No, I didn't mean that. Right, swap Leicester for
So what you want to say? City, Chelsea, Man U, Leicester. That's what you want to say, yeah?
I'm gonna go Spurs instead of Leicester.
City, Chelsea, Man U, Spurs. Right, okay, cool. We're going to hold it there.
Yeah.
And next time, you're lucky I've let you off here and let you change your mind. Next time, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I have to go. Because I've just realised that someone's at the door and I better go and let them in. So, Roz, thank you very much for joining me on this extended episode of Game Week preview here on EPLW. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and you're watching this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, allow notifications, and also please tell a friend to tell a friend. We're trying to grow this thing. And if you want to help grow this thing, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW. And you can enjoy some exclusive benefits whilst helping this channel become more bigger and better and things like that and stuff. So
Nice.
more betterer, yeah? More betterer. We're going to get all betterer and that and learn things. Cool. Roz, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow on EPLW, 6:30 Sunday night, and we are joined by Mus, and we'll see if we can get someone else in. Maybe, maybe not. But until then, arrivederci.
Laters.